A luxury car disappears from a parking lot in broad daylight. No broken glass, no alarms, no witnesses. And yet, within hours, the same car is already on a container ship, bound for another country. This wasn't just one theft. It was hundreds, all carried out by a single man. A man the police began calling the master of the disappearing car thieves. But to understand how he pulled it off, we need to go back. In 2012, a series of strange thefts began across Europe. High-end vehicles, BMWs, Audis, Range Rovers, all gone. Taken from driveways, hotel lots, even inside secured garages. Insurance companies were confused. Police reports made little sense. There were no signs of forced entry. The keys were still with the owners. It was almost as if the cars had vanished into thin air. At first, authorities assumed it was an inside job. Maybe valet workers. Maybe dealership staff with duplicates. But soon the pattern was too widespread. Too perfect. Someone had found a new way to steal. The method was simple, but devastating. Modern luxury cars no longer relied only on metal keys. They had keyless entry. Small fobs that sent signals to unlock and start the engine. Convenient, but vulnerable. The thief exploited that flaw. He and his crew carried what looked like a laptop bag. Inside, a custom radio relay. One man would walk near the car owner, at a restaurant, in a shopping mall. The device would pick up the key fob signal. Another man, waiting by the car, would receive it. And just like that, the doors opened. The engine started. No alarms. No violence. It was the perfect ghost crime. By 2014, the scale became impossible to ignore. Entire neighborhoods in Paris, Berlin, and London reported clusters of missing cars. Interpol flagged the operation as organized, transnational, and highly sophisticated. But investigators hit a wall. Every time they traced a stolen car, it was already gone. Re-registered in Eastern Europe, stripped in chop shops, or loaded into shipping containers bound for Africa, the Middle East, or South America. Whoever was behind it moved faster than law enforcement could react. And then came the break. In 2016, police raided a warehouse in Antwerp. Inside, 6 stolen SUVs, all with their VIN numbers altered. And on a dusty workbench, 1 forgotten laptop. It was encrypted, but once unlocked, the files revealed something unexpected. Not just car records, blueprints, training manuals, step-by-step guides on how to run the operation. This wasn't just one man stealing cars. It was a network, a school for thieves. And at the center of every document, one name kept appearing. A man no one had seen. No photos, no fingerprints, just a code name, the engineer. Police tried to follow the trail, but every lead ended in silence. Interpol notices came back empty. He didn't exist in any official records, until one small mistake. A container ship docked in Naples was flagged for inspection. Inside, luxury sedans packed in tight. All stolen, all traced back to the same network. On the shipping manifest was a fake company name, but the listed contact number led back to a prepaid phone. And that phone had once pinged a cell tower in Warsaw. It was the first real location tied to the engineer. Surveillance teams moved in. Weeks of watching. Men coming and going. Luxury cars with mismatched plates. But still no sign of him. Then one night, a figure appeared. Mid-40s. Dark coat. Calm, careful. Never staying in one place for long. He never touched the cars himself. He never carried tools. He only carried a tablet, with custom software that seemed to control everything. And as police later learned, he didn't just write the code for the theft devices. He built them. Modified radio relays, key signal amplifiers, VIN cloning software. Every detail of the operation came from him. But just as investigators closed in, he disappeared. No forwarding address. No trace. The Warsaw safe house was abandoned overnight. All that remained was a coffee cup, and on it, a partial fingerprint. Finally, they had a real identity. His name was Mikhail Vostrikov, a former automotive engineer from Moscow, laid off during the 2008 financial crash. After losing his job, he had turned his skills elsewhere. Police discovered he had once worked on prototype keyless entry systems, the same systems he was now exploiting. He hadn't just stumbled into car theft. He knew exactly where the flaws were, and he had weaponized them. By 2018, Europol declared him one of the most elusive criminals in Europe. Over 3,000 cars stolen, an estimated $150 million in losses. But Mikhail was untouchable. Every time police thought they had him surrounded, he slipped away, sometimes days before, as if he already knew. Some investigators suspected he had help. Insiders in shipping companies, maybe even corrupt officers. Others thought he was simply smarter, always 3 steps ahead. Either way, the cars kept disappearing. And then, he made a mistake. A Range Rover was stolen in Paris, tracked through its GPS. The thieves tried to disable it, but the system sent one final signal. Coordinates. Police raided the location. Inside a warehouse, dozens of stolen vehicles, and tucked in the corner a workstation. Hard drives, encrypted but not fully, and on one, surveillance footage. It showed Mikhail himself. For the first time, investigators had his face. A man calmly walking through the warehouse, checking vehicles, giving instructions. Not frantic, not afraid, as if he knew no one could touch him. But now he was a target. Interpol issued a red notice. European border agencies flagged his name. Financial accounts linked to him were frozen. The hunt had gone public. Still no arrest. Because just as quickly as he appeared on video, he was gone again. The face on the footage gave investigators momentum. But catching him would take years. Because by the time his identity was confirmed, Mikhail had already moved operations out of Europe. Shipping routes shifted. Cars that once vanished from Paris or Berlin now disappeared in Dubai, Cape Town, and Lagos. The pattern was the same. Keyless entry theft, relay attacks, cars loaded into containers within hours. It was as if he had simply picked up his empire and set it down somewhere else. Interpol traced his movements through whispers. A sighting in Istanbul, a forged passport in Prague, a customs officer in Morocco bribed to look away. But the man himself never stayed long enough to be caught. In criminal circles, he became almost mythical. Stories of him spread like urban legends. A thief who could walk into a city with empty hands and leave with millions in stolen cars. Then came 2020. The pandemic shut down borders, grounded flights, disrupted shipping. Most criminals slowed down, but Mikhail adapted. Instead of shipping cars overseas, he turned to local demand. Luxury SUVs stolen in Johannesburg, Mercedes and Audis stripped for parts in Cairo, Toyota Land Cruisers taken for militias in conflict zones. Where others struggled, his network thrived. It was proof that he wasn't just a thief. He was a strategist. But the same pandemic that helped him also exposed him. In 2021, a shipment of vehicles seized in Greece carried a digital breadcrumb. Inside the onboard computer of a stolen BMW, investigators found something unusual. The car's diagnostic software had been modified, traces of custom code, and buried inside that code, a signature, a line of programming notes in Russian, left behind by accident, and at the bottom, one name, M. Vostrikov. Forensic teams matched it to his old work at a Moscow automotive firm. It was the smoking gun that linked the thefts directly to him. Now the chase intensified. But once again, Mikhail seemed to know he was being hunted. Whenever police closed in, he was gone days before. Safe houses emptied, hard drives wiped, warehouses cleared out. To investigators, it felt like chasing a ghost. But then he slipped. In late 2022, police in Madrid intercepted a stolen Porsche Cayenne. Hidden inside the trunk, a small encrypted device. When decrypted, it revealed a partial operations log. Dozens of cars listed by VIN, dates, and shipping routes. And at the bottom, a planned route for the next shipment. Leaving from Valencia, headed to West Africa, authorities moved fast. At the port of Valencia, customs agents swarmed the docks. Inside a container, they found 6 stolen cars. But that wasn't all. In a rented office nearby, they found someone watching the operation on CCTV. A man with short dark hair, calm expression, a tablet in hand. It was him. The arrest was swift. Interpol called it the culmination of a decade-long hunt. The master of the disappearing car thieves was finally in custody. But even then, it wasn't over. Because within weeks, strange things began to happen. Evidence servers at Europol suffered unexplained outages. Encrypted files tied to the case vanished. And one morning, Spanish prosecutors received an anonymous message. If you bring him to trial, your cars won't start. It was never proven, but investigators believed Mikhail had hidden back doors in thousands of vehicles worldwide. A silent threat. One last layer of control. And then in 2023, something even stranger. During a routine transfer between detention centers, the van carrying him was blocked by 2 SUVs. Masked men stormed the vehicle. The guards were tied up but left unharmed. The van doors opened, and when police arrived minutes later, Mikhail was gone. He hasn't been seen since. Some say he's hiding in Russia, protected by powerful allies. Others believe he rebuilt his empire overseas, in countries where car theft is still rampant. Interpol still lists him as wanted. But officially, his trail went cold after that escape. Unofficially, the thefts never stopped. Luxury cars still vanish from European cities. Container ships still leave ports with altered manifests. And somewhere, investigators believe, the engineer is still orchestrating it all. The truth, no one knows. But the mystery lingers. Because while other thieves get sloppy, caught with tools in their hands, Mikhail Vostrikov never needed tools. He only needed code, and a flaw hidden deep inside the machines we trust. That's how he earned his name. The man who could make cars disappear. Without breaking a window, without leaving a trace.